Good morning, students. We are given this question: find x, y, a and b if these two matrices are equal. So let us assume this to be as a and this to be as b. It is clearly given that a is equal to b. So that would mean you can now equate 3x positive 4y with 2, a positive b with 5, and then 2a negative b with negative 5, and x negative 2y with 4. I'm going to be taking this as equation 1, equation 2, 3 and 4. Now foremost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be solving for x. So equation 2, I would multiply it with 3, and equation 1 I will multiply it with 1. So that would give me 3x positive 4y equal to 2, and 3x negative 6y is equal to 12. Adding, in other words changing the sign, so this is going to be negative in between, this is positive and negative. Clearly 3x can be cancelled, so on this side it's going to be 10y. 2 negative 12 would give me negative 10. Therefore, from here, the value of y would be negative 10 divided by 10, which is equal to negative 1. You can specify it here, y being equal to negative 1, and then box the result. Now, you have achieved the value for y, but you can use that value of y to obtain the value of x. Now, substitute y equal to negative 1 in 2. So what happens when you do that? You get x negative 2 times. In place of y you substitute negative 1. That has to be equated to 4. So this means x negative of negative would become positive 2 equal to 4. Move the 2 to the other side would give you x equal to 4 negative 2, which means x is equal to positive 2. So this is the value for x. Now, having obtained the value for x and y, it's time that we solve for a and b. What I'm going to do is I would be multiplying 3 by 2, and equation 4 I would be multiplying by 1. If I were to do that, I would get 2a positive 2b equal to, on the right side I've got 5, so that would be 10, and for the second equation it's going to be 2a negative b equal to negative 5. When we add them, changing the signs, is going to be minus, minus plus, minus plus. Cancelling them, this would give me 3b is equal to 10 added with 5 would give me 15. So the value of b would be 15 divided by 3, which is equal to 5. So therefore the value of b can be explicitly stated in a boxed manner, thus making it more attractive. Now, to obtain the value of a, what I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute b equal to 5 in 3. That's going to be a plus b is equal to 5. So when I do that, substituting it in 3, it's going to be a positive 5 is equal to 5, which means a is equal to 5 negative 5, which means a is equal to 0. So this is the last value that we have asked to obtain. If you want, you can finally specify the conclusion. Therefore, the values are so here we are going to be studying about different operations that can be carried out in a matrix. So the first one is multiplication of a matrix by a scalar. Now, the meaning of scalar is nothing but any number. The point that you have to understand is, if you are given a matrix like this, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2 and minus 1, and they are asking you to find 3a. So what it means is that you are expected to multiply every element of the matrix A by 3. So if I were to take this, okay, let me take this number as 0 just for the simplicity. So 0 to negative 1. So this would mean I have to multiply the element 2 by 3, the element 3 by 3, and the element 5 by 3, followed by 0 by 3, and then the element 2 by 3, and the element negative 1 by 3. So what would I get? That would be 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So conclusion, you have to state that therefore when you multiply the matrix 3 by a constant, I get the result as shown here. Now usually they are not going to be asking such simple questions. They would ask questions which involve relations like this, say 2 times A negative 5 times B, given that say 2, 5, 1 and 7. B is of the form 1, 1, 0, 0. 2 times A, I would suggest that you do these evaluations in forms of steps. So step 1 would be consider, that's the best word to use, 2 times A, which means you're multiplying every element of the matrix A by 2. So you have 2, 5, 1, 7. That would give you 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 5 is 10, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 7 is 14. Next, step number 2, consider 5B. So that means you're multiplying every element of the matrix B by 5. 1, 0, 0, 1. So that would be 5, 0, 0, 5. Now finally, you are expected to make the final evaluation. What is that? Therefore, 2 times A negative 5 times B is equal to, you are picking up the first element and you are subtracting from the matrix that you have being shown here. So in other words, you are subtracting 4 minus 5 here. Similarly, what are you doing for the next element? You need to subtract the second element which you are seeing there. So it's going to be 10 negative 0. Following, we get 2 negative 0 and then 14 negative 5, which can be all simplified as 4 negative 5 would give you negative 1, 10 negative 0 is going to be 10, 2 negative 0 is going to be 2, 14 negative 5 will give you 9. So therefore, when you evaluate the process 2A negative 5B, your solution is negative 1, 10 to 9. The idea of this question is to demonstrate what is called as the scalar multiplication. Okay, in this we would be learning about addition operation and subtraction operation when matrices are involved. So we have been given here 2 matrices. One is matrix A, 4, root of 5, 7, negative 1, 0 and 0.5, followed by another matrix B, which is root 3, root 5, 7.3, 1, 1 over 3 and 1 over 4. A very important point to remember: for performing addition or subtraction operation, the order of the matrix should be equal. If they are not equal, then the addition operation or subtraction operation cannot be performed. But in this case, the order of A is 2 rows and 3 columns, so 2 by 3, and the order of matrix B is same, 2 by 3. So addition operation and subtraction operation can be performed. So I'm going to show you how this operation is done. So we have matrix A and matrix B. They are asking us to find A positive B. Write the elements of matrix A first. 4, root of 5, 7, negative 1, 0 and 0.5, followed by the operation in between, which is addition, and then the matrix B, which is root 3, root of 5, and 7.3 and 1 and 1 over 3 and 1 over 4. Now, whenever you are adding, the best way to add elements is to be done individually. In other words, do it meticulously. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you want to add the first row first element with the first row first element of matrix B, show it 4 added with root 3. Now if you want to add the first row second element with the first row second element of the other matrix, you display that root of 5 added with root of 5 followed by 7 added with 7.3. Close the parenthesis, or this is usually referred to as the square bracket. The next element, so negative 1 added with positive 1, and then 0 added with 1 over 3, and then 0.5 added with 1 over 4. Now this is going to give me 4 added with root 3 is not 4 root 3, I have it in mind. 4 added with root 3, unless or until they give you the value of root 3, you cannot do anything in this case. You just simply write it as 4 positive root 3. That's all. That's the element. Root of 5 added with root of 5 would give you 2 times root 5. Now 7 added with 7.3 would give you 14.3. Coming to the second row, negative 1 added with 1 would give you 0. 0 added with 1 over 3 would give you 1 over 3. And 0.5 added with 1 over 4. Actually, you know 1 over 4 is going to be 0.25, right? So they are asking you to add 0.50 with 0.25. So that will give you 0.75. So you can either place it like this, 0.75, or if you're not comfortable, follow it up with 1 over 4. If you want to take and simplify this further, you can. LCM would be 4. So that means 2 times 1, positive 1, which would be 3 divided by 4. In either way, the answers are accepted. So this is the case for adding two matrices. But if you are interested in subtracting them, then I can also show you that. So A negative B, in this case, what you got to do? The same thing. Explicitly represent them. 4 negative root 3, because the sign is going to be negative in between the matrices, followed by root 5 negative root 5. And then 7 negative 7.3, close the square bracket, negative 1 negative 1, 0 negative 1 over 3, and then you have 0.5 negative 1 over 4. You can simplify them and write the output. 4 negative root 3, you cannot do anything in that case because you don't know the value of root 3. So simply write it as 4 negative root 3. Root 5 negative root 5 would give you 0. Now 7 negative 7.3 would give you negative 0.3. Negative 1 would give you negative 2. 0 negative 1 over 3 would give you negative 1 over 3. Either write it as 1 over 4 or as a decimal quantity. I think you are able to get what I'm trying to tell you here.